Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome once again to Change the Questions, the show where we take a single question for professional wrestling each week and dissect it thoroughly. My name is Paul Laporte. Joining me for this episode are my co-host Mike Miner.
Gentlemen.
And Antoine Clay joining us once again, aka Sean the Gamer.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
There? Is he there?
There.
I don't know. Where am I?
Here, there we go. This episode is going to be discussing wrestlers who have previously been in WWE. Who should WWE give a second chance? This one is actually particularly topical because we're less than a month removed from the Black Friday cuts.
No, we're going to talk about those guys.
Yeah, we're less than a month away or removed from the Black Friday cuts, and then there's just been a number of wrestlers in WWE's history who have gone through the company and left. Some have left on good terms, others have left on bad terms, but a lot of people feel that certain guys were squandered by WWE. So we are going to discuss today who we think WWE should give a second chance. We started off with Mr. Clay last time, so Mr. Miner, we will start with you.
Okay, I'm going to shoot out one name, and I think we should go around a little bit. Let me put down my wine glass of water.
Sure that's water?
Oh my god, that's delicious. Anyway, EC3.
EC3.
Ethan
He
Carter
was
the
a
third.
NXT guy, then he got cut, right?
Yes. Yep, he was Derek Bateman in NXT.
Yes.
He got cut, and now he has been one of the top guys in TNA for a very long time.
Yeah, he's their shining star right now. So,
He's like one of the only people TNA say they can actually build.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. WWE, a lot of people have said that WWE kind of dropped the ball with him being a young guy. Ethan Carter himself has mentioned that he thinks WWE kind of made the right decision in letting him go because they just weren't going to use him, so they would rather kind of let him go and grow somewhere else. I think that's a good pick. Antoine, do you agree?
Oh yeah, EC3 is one of my favorite people down in TNA right now. He was undefeated for such a long time. He did the sniveling character very well. The stuff he did with Rockstar Spud and all those people was very entertaining, and I think he'll be good as like a mid-card IC US champion.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, like I said, he's definitely improved since his days in NXT. He has a great character. He has great personality, which is something WWE loves. I would be interested. I think the mid-card scene is kind of the best place, or maybe find somebody else that he could fit well with as a tag team. I think he is, like you mentioned with his stuff with Rockstar Spud, I think he works best, and even with the stuff we saw with Daniel Bryan when he was in NXT, Ethan Carter works best when he plays off of somebody else.
Yeah.
So if they give him someone as a foil or a partner to kind of do his kind of goofy personality and bounce that off of, I think he could fit in just fine. So definitely a solid name. Antoine, who do you think that WWE should give a second chance?
Well, one of my favorite people to watch in the ring, he got let go a while ago, and he's been turning it up down there in Lucha Underground. I want to see my boy Johnny Mundo back.
Ooh, good pick.
In WWE, whether it's down to NXT, becoming NXT World Heavyweight Champion, or going back into that mid-card scene. I just think his in-ring work has gotten better, his promo has gotten better, and he just has the look to be a good champion in WWE.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. His character was very good. His character was good then. It definitely improved. He is one of the bright spots of Lucha Underground, both in and out of the ring. Only problem with him coming back is that one of the rumored reasons why WWE kind of didn't do much with him and let him go was that Kevin Dunn was not a big fan of him. Kevin Dunn still works there.
I thought it was because of the whole thing with the alleged Batista Molina thing.
I mean, it might have been a few different things, and again, nobody knows for sure other than the people who were involved. But I had heard that Kevin Dunn just really wasn't very high on the guy, and that he got into Vince's ear.
There was also another situation with Trish Stratus at WrestleMania, how he snubbed her.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He got heat for that. So, like you said, there's a lot of things that have been, talked about as far as what may have led to him exiting the company. But either way, he's gone, and hopefully he gets another shot. The rumor mill is saying that Vince McMahon is very interested in having a Morrison return.
Yeah,
so
I saw those.
It could happen sooner than later, but it depends on money and if Morrison's interested. Mundo's interested, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Do you think that he would want to go back?
That would be great.
No.
Oh yeah.
Do you think he'd be interested in coming back, Antoine, or do you think that he's going to have a bad taste in his mouth?
I think if everything like we've seen people go in the Hall of Fame, we never thought can go into the Hall of Fame. So
Good point.
anything can happen. If I'm pretty sure if they can like work out the money, maybe travel issues, if he had any placement on the card, all that can be talked out as long as they are willing to talk it out. And anything can happen. So I would love to see him back.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the Hall of Fame thing going on. I remember a couple of years ago. I'm not sure. Were you at that show, Paul, where Morrison was there? He was facing Sami Callihan, and
was that the 2CW show?
yeah, it was a 2CW show.
No, I was not there for that.
Okay, well, one of the things they did on the loudspeaker was say, "Go over and see future WWE Hall of Famer John Morrison," and yeah, and it was just like a trip at the time. But I mean, I can honestly see him going back and then finishing a career that's Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, you know, the guy was very athletic. He looks like $1 million. You know,
I mean, Mercury's still there, so maybe he can pull some strings for him.
Exactly.
It could be J and J and J security.
Can we get Ty in there, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he's obviously very good. He's a good pick. I just don't know if he'd want to go back, just based on kind of the way he was dicked around in the past, especially now that WWE has shown interest in him. I wouldn't surprise me if they've kind of shown interest in him for a little while, and this is the first we're kind of hearing about it. There are certain people who just aren't interested in going back to WWE, kind of based on what happened with them in the past. Kenny Omega was somebody who worked for WWE developmental pre-NXT, in OVW, I believe. And I don't know.
Was it Florida?
Oh yeah, was it? It might have been. It might have been FCW. No. I think it was. I don't remember if it was OVW or FCW or not. I'm not 100% sure on that. No, having some video issues with the calls. We're bringing you back in. If you guys can hear me, I'll go ahead and press on. But
I can definitely hear you.
Okay,
I
great.
hear you.
Okay, great. So we'll just go ahead and go forward. It looks like everything's coming back. So Kenny Omega is one of those people who they've offered him deals since, and he's turned him down. I think he will go there eventually, and I do think that Morrison, if they really want him, he'll go there eventually as well. But that, I think, could be something keeping him out.
Also consider the current climate where you've got guys dropping and bleeding in this company dry as far as talent goes. Well, I mean, not bleeding the company dry with the talent, but they're leaving because something's going on that, they don't want to be a part of. Cody
Are you
Rhodes.
talking about like the Cody that's about to say?
Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes, Ryback, who else? You've heard a story from, Paul London not too long ago, and he hasn't been in the company for years, but, you see the stuff that's happening now with talent leaving, even guys in NXT leaving.
Yeah.
You had, what's his name?
Sami Callihan
Well,
left.
yeah, well, I was
Juice
gonna-
Robinson, Bull Dempsey.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. CJ Parker.
CJ Parker, yes.
Yeah, aka Juice Robinson, now in New Japan, and Bull Dempsey. I'm not sure. Was Bull cut or did he request? I can't remember.
I think he may have requested.
Okay. So my pick is gonna be if he hadn't voluntarily left.
Wade Barrett, sorry.
Oh yes, Wade Barrett as well.
Oh, yeah.
If he hadn't voluntarily left, my pick would be Cody Rhodes. But it's not WWE giving him a second chance. It would be him giving WWE a second chance. So I'm going to go ahead and use another name that was released recently, and I am going to pick Damian Sandow.
So much wasted.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a simple fact for, again, and this isn't, like I said, him screwing up and WWE letting go. I think it's a case of WWE never really gave him a good chance to begin with, and there was just so much wasted potential there, much like Cody Rhodes, but WWE actually let Sandow go, and I feel like they just dropped the ball so big on him, and you know what, if they waited a little bit, like let Damian go through, a few months on the independent circuit and then kind of quietly bring him back, and then he just shows up out of nowhere, just the pop that audience is going to have will be absolutely gigantic.
Definitely.
So Yeah,
Yeah.
that is something where they can kind of make a mistake and they can still save themselves by just bringing the guy back. People are gonna love him, and that was the thing. Is just the guy. They never really gave him a lot, and he was just so universally beloved that they if they actually put some effort into him, just imagine the sort of return they could get.
Oh yeah, he has everything they put him in just got over. The Mizdow stuff. They had him. He was Magneto one week. So
Yeah, exactly.
anything that they put him in, he got it over, and he's good on the mic. I think he would have been great with this like new like the Vaudevillains. He could have been like their third guy to
Oh,
help
that
them
would have
get
been
over.
fun. Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I think Braun Strowman would be great with the Vaudevillains. Just their giant strong guy. I mean,
Oh, that'd be amazing.
that's Simon Gotch's stick, but I mean, why not? You can have a second strong guy, one that's a lot larger, and is their backup. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. But like another thing with Sandow though is speaking of his little gimmick switches that he would do, there was one time I think he was on Main Event or Superstars. He was facing R-Truth. He was dressed up like a rapper. He had duct tape around his neck. And for some reason, this one thing stuck out to me, and it still sticks out, where R-Truth's like, what the hell is going on with this guy? And then he bumps into R-Truth. He goes, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And then R-Truth just beats him. And that guy was crazy, but he could get over with anything. That's
He
my
really
entire
could.
point. No matter
So-
what he did, it turned into gold.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I would go with him as my pick. So those are our three, like, if we had to pick one guy. But fortunately, we can go ahead and bandy about some other names as well. So if we had to do anyone else we'd like to see, Antoine, who would you want to see back?
That's a good question because like most of the people that I want to see back, like they left in a time where WWE was in a bad place. Like my number one would definitely be Gail Kim. She's one of my favorite women.
We actually, yeah,
but-
we just talked about her on CTQ Weekly and whether or not she'd be interested in coming back.
Yeah, I know she probably wouldn't everything that she went through, but she would be one of mine just because she could bring so much more to the already great women's division, just a different style, and so much knowledge that she can pass on to these girls. It would be great for the future divas. Oh, well, not divas, women. Excuse me.
And Mr. Miner?
We've invoked his name a handful of times already. Sami Callihan. Great upside to the guy. Unique look. Can go a million miles a minute. Very impressive looking offense. He can scrap with the best of them. He's impressive overall. I think they dropped the ball with him a bit in NXT, and I'm being kind when I say that because that guy, I've not seen him have a bad match, no matter where he's been at. And even when he was scaled back a bit in NXT, when I saw him live at an NXT show out in Albany, I thought he did great then too. And I mean, if you really want to see him at his best, he's going to be in Lucha Underground. So
Awesome.
expect huge things from him as far as going there. If Lucha Underground drops a ball on him, I don't know what the hell people are thinking. Like, who's booking this guy if they drop the ball on him and WWE drops the ball on him? I don't know what these bookers are thinking. But anyway, he'd be my pick to come back. Basically, let him run through the indies a bit more. Let him pick up more championships. Let him show WWE what he is actually worth and what they can do with him and how over with the crowd he actually is. I mean, he's basically doing a grassroots campaign at this point to show what he can do and what he's capable of without being stuck inside of a weird hacker gimmick. He can
Yeah.
help the best of them.
So would I be cheating if I picked Nigel McGuinness? He was picked up and he was released.
Well,
Wouldn't that be like me saying, I want, what's his name? James Storm back?
I mean, I think that would be viable. I mean, honestly, James Storm's more viable than Nigel McGuinness because he actually appeared in an NXT ring.
I was going to say, should we count Nigel because we haven't seen anything as far as
Right.
in ring?
He hadn't gotten in the ring, so I don't know if if I can't pick Nigel, which is fine, but I'm a huge Nigel McGuinness fan, always have been, always will be, and I think even still today, he has stayed in good enough shape that I think that he could still contribute something in the ring. But even if he wasn't in the ring, he could be very good outside of the ring as a manager or some sort of personality, especially for a guy like, if they decide to pick him up after this Cruiserweight series, a guy like Zack Sabre Jr. Or somebody like that. I think he could do really well as a talking piece, but I also think he could have a little bit more left in the ring. If I don't pick him, I am going to go with, because Sami Callihan would have been my pick, Minor, and you took him out from under me.
Thank goodness.
My pick is going to be one that's going to kind of surprise people, and I don't think anybody would think of this name off the top of my head or off the top of their head, but Kurt Hawkins, actually. I have seen him on the independent scene at a couple local shows and whatnot that like Scott and some friends of mine have been at, and I've done work or commentary for, and also right before he was released, he and NXT had a dynamite match with Sami Zayn, and I know having a good match with Sami Zayn isn't exactly a difficult thing, but it wasn't like a thing of Sami carried him. Like, he really worked his ass off and did really well, and that is a guy who he's never going to be a world champion. He may not even be an IC champion or a US champion, but I think he's a guy who is a solid, talented hand, and he's somebody that you can use to build up your lower card guys into the mid card, into the upper card, and I think he's somebody that if you fit him in with a tag team or something like that, then he tagged with Zack Ryder before.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so like something like that, or keep him down in NXT. Like, think about it. How far removed are Kurt Hawkins and Tyson Kidd, 3 years ago? Like, Tyson Kidd, they gave him a shot in NXT, and he rebuilt himself. Kurt Hawkins, they didn't really kind of give that same opportunity to. Tyson Kidd's better than Kurt Hawkins, okay. But I think that they could have given him a chance to rebuild himself, and he's one of those guys who's good, who's talented, who's smart, and he's not somebody that people are going to pick, but I think that he could contribute a lot to the company still.
Yep, I agree with everything.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we want to give any more, or are we wrapping it up?
I mean, we can do some honorable mentions, just throw out some names.
Sure.
I was thinking, like, since they are trying to, I guess, rebuild the Cruiserweight division with this Cruiserweight series, you can bring back guys like, I don't know, PJ Black, Paul London, if you wanted to come back.
Paul London ain't never coming back. Not ever.
One of my favorites. I'm just saying, these
Kendrick.
people we want. The people we want.
Brian Kendrick.
That's true. Brian Kendrick would be a good one, and I could see him coming back because, I mean, he's done some training work with them before, and he had those couple matches in NXT where Finn Balor stomped a hole in his guts and killed him, essentially. I think
Evan Bourne is another name too.
Oh, yes.
Who's that?
Evan Bourne.
Oh yeah, doing great things in New Japan right now at the Best of the Super Juniors. I agree. If they are gonna, especially after this Cruiserweight Classic, put an increased focus on the Cruiserweight division and keep it around as a thing, there's a lot of guys that they can pick up that they let go at different times and run with, and all those guys you mentioned would fit in very well. Again, like an honorable mention for me would be the Gail Kim mention as well. I think she is someone who is very good. I don't think she would necessarily be a top pick for me because WWE has a lot of really talented women. And Gail Kim, I think she's 38 now. She doesn't have probably too many years left in her career, so I think almost her spot would be kind of better suited for maybe like a younger wrestler like Candice LeRae or somebody like that, or Heidi Lovelace, who has kind of a little bit more of a length to their career. But seeing her back at
Training Center. What about the Training Center?
Oh yeah, she could be a coach for sure. Any other honorable mentions, Minor?
Oh man, I'm sure I got a bunch of them in the back of my head, but you guys are ripping through a lot of them.
Okay,
so,
Antoine.
I was gonna say, I don't even know if they need her or even if she wants to come back, maybe Karma.
Oh, so many locker room problems with Karma.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know if they need her or if they want her to come back. It's just like,
I think the fact that you punch one person backstage, and I think you can kind of overlook that.
I mean, come on, everybody wants to punch Bubba the
That's
Love
true.
Sponge. Let's be honest.
But when you
Bubba the blah, blah.
when you start punching multiple people backstage, then it's a thing of like, I don't know if we can break you in. I'd love to see her in, like having her, like I think that's one of the things that makes Nia Jax special is having a big person in that division. We need monsters in that division, and Karma's so good at all times usually that I think she could contribute to that. But man, just too much baggage with her. I think. I just feel like there's too many problems.
Maybe I just like people with baggage. Like, give them a second chance. Everybody deserves a second chance.
That would be like third chance, I think, for Karma.
Right.
So, anyone gonna mention CM Punk? Is that worth mentioning?
Like,
technically, they let him go. They let him go. Technically, oh yeah, absolutely, tons of baggage there. But should WWE? Do you think that they're ever gonna like ask him to come back, or do you think it's just not worth it?
It depends on how this UFC stuff go. I didn't mean to cut you off, but if this UFC stuff doesn't work, maybe let it cool off for like 6-7 months. Let it be a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes back, let it be a surprise. Like AJ Styles at the Rumble, we kind of had the rumblings, but we didn't know. Just let it be a surprise if he comes back.
If anything would happen, it'd be if they can make money off of him, they'd welcome him back. Vince, if he sees dollar signs in something or somebody, he's bringing them back. Brock Lesnar levied, 1-2 lawsuits against him? I can't remember, but they've gone to court at least once against one another.
Yep.
He was close to signing another time, and he backed away until he finally went back to the organization 8 years after he left. So anything is possible. Look at Sable. She dropped a lawsuit on them.
Yeah, that's true.
She wound up going back. Jesse Ventura, same thing. So anything is possible at any point, but it all depends on the talent and whether they want to come back or not. And CM Punk, I just cannot see him coming back unless he gets another itch for it, and that's going to be a very, very long time. And right now, he's 38 years old. He might not want to be doing this much longer. Fighting, any kind of contact, he might not want to do it much longer. So, I mean, I can't see him going back. Maybe when things cool down, maybe he'll go and agree to going to the Hall of Fame, but that's pretty much it.
CM Punk in the Hall of Fame. Alrighty. That's crazy.
I think it's well deserved, but
it's well deserved. I'm just thinking about it, how it sounds.
It blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh wait, we forgot one important name. How can we forget about this guy? He went under the radar for so long in WWE before he was finally released. JTG.
JTG, who had a career, I think 5 years longer than his in-ring career.
I remember it was like a meme on social media, like JTG boy, like 7,000 days or something like that.
Yeah,
like that.
I read something that really had me laugh, and it was Michael Cole's picture. It had like a side shot of him at the announce table. It said, "The streak has been broken. JTG has been released."
I know, it was crazy. But
so,
I can't find that.
To wrap it up, I'm going to throw 2 names out there, and I want to hear what you guys think on both of them. Name number 1, Kurt Angle.
Of course.
Yeah, he's coming back. Hall of Fame worthy. Like we were talking about with CM Punk, he just deserves to be there.
Do you think coming back for wrestling though?
No, I don't think he's coming back for wrestling.
If it's wrestling, one more match. If not, when you bring up the Alphas, pair him up with Kurt Angle.
Okay. Minor?
As far as Kurt Angle goes, I could see him maybe doing one more match, but not something where he's completely active on the road. Maybe one match a year, kind of like what The Undertaker does. But as far as American Alpha goes, I can see that turning out well, but at the same time, I think they'd want them to stand on their own.
Yeah, you do risk kind of taking the specialness.
I mean, I'm not saying like Ric Flair, Charlotte.
No,
I'm just saying, just maybe like for the initial come up.
I mean, it certainly makes sense. It makes perfect sense, but I can see them just kind of leaving Kurt alone or away from them unless I don't know.
Or maybe here's a quick idea. Like when you bring up the Alphas, have them like a run-in. Like maybe the New Day turns heel, the third person, Kurt Angle comes out to even the odds. Something like that. Something cool.
Okay.
Yeah, or even have them go against Kurt Angle. Like have Kurt Angle go against them, saying, you guys aren't on my level. You guys aren't half the wrestler that I am.
Chad Gable versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah, I could see something like that being fun.
That could be a fun match.
Yeah, but I could see something like Kurt Angle saying, I'm training a couple of guys that are going to take you 2 out. And
that'd be cool.
And it winds up being, I don't know, whatever
Possibly.
heel tag, like the Vaughn Villains or something, something ridiculous.
would be-
TM61 or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Okay, so name number 2, and we'll kind of wrap up on this. Jeff Hardy.
Thought about that, but no.
I mean, he's cleaned up his act. I would think like Matt will be the liability at this point.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't even like Matt's. Yeah, I don't think that there's enough upside to bring Matt back in. But
I'm
Jeff,
just not being the crazy one.
people really
Right.
still to this day miss Jeff Hardy. So, do you think that they should bring him back?
Do you really need a Jeff Hardy just for the other than a pop? I mean, because you got people like Finn and other like Sami Zayn who pretty much can wrestle the same style as
They
a
stay
Jeff
clean.
Hardy. Yeah, and they stay clean. So do you really need a Jeff Hardy back? I mean, for the initial pop, yeah, nostalgia, special event, network guy. Hey, put him on the Edge of Christian show.
Yeah, that would be some good spots. All right.
Did wind up turning out fun, but let me get my bit in about Jeff Hardy, and then I'll be done. But
Yeah, go ahead.
my whole thing with Jeff Hardy is I could see him doing like an appearance or two, but I wouldn't even want him back because of that. He left. He got back on drugs. Look at what he did with TNA. I mean, he might have cleaned up his act, but the one thing to me that was completely unforgivable was that Sting match. How he went out loaded.
Yeah.
He probably cost him a lot of viewers and a lot of money, even though they weren't, exactly swimming in a lot of viewers at that point. Going to the ring wasted like he did was completely inappropriate. He put himself at risk. He could have been putting his opponent at risk. The reputation of the company. And what kills me is the same company wound up putting the championship back on him not so long after. I'm sorry, but if it was my company, we talked about stuff with Vince McMahon before and the Montreal Screwjob and, the decision he had to make, the tough decision he had to make. If that were me running TNA, he would have been out on his ass. If he wasn't going to go out on his ass and he had to stay with the company, he certainly wouldn't be anywhere near the main event card ever again. Just because that situation was such a black eye to that company. There's no way I would put him in that position ever again.
Right.
Ever.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Change the Questions. We hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to check out the website. That's changingtheqs.com, aka www.changingtheqs.com, where you can catch this show, all of our other shows, as well as articles and recaps that we put up all throughout the week. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at the same handle, at changingtheqs. That's at changingtheqs. If you want to like us on Facebook, just search for Changing the Questions there. And if you want to send us a good old-fashioned email, you can do so, changingthequestions@gmail.com. And Mr. Clay, how can they get in touch with you?
It is Sean the Gamer on everything on the internet. SHAWN_DA Gamer. Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, all that good stuff.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you so much for listening at home. We'll see you again soon. Go ahead.
Thank you. Bye.